Hello and welcome back. Today on the bench once again is the output transformer for the new amplifier, and I should say, have hit a point where I'm thinking about ripping it all off and starting again. So I mentioned probably in the previous two videos about me winding an incomplete layer, sort of about that wide. Subsequently, every layer that I've wound, it's caused me issues. So what happens is, you're winding merrily on, you get about to this point here, and then it either starts crossing over or spilling off, you get gaps, and then this, I sort of end up doing this. If you can see down there, pulling loads of turns off, and then rewinding. And I've done that like on every single layer, just about. Off, on, fucking about. Also, that, you know, you have to stop the counter, and it's a pain in the arse. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to leave that there, just sitting there for now. I've got another bobbin, obviously, so I'm going to go now and start again, do all my calculations from scratch. I'm going to draw the load line from scratch as well, see if I can figure out a way where we can get complete layers on and we don't have this problem, because it's a bitch. The other thing is, like, ever since that first incomplete layer, I've been making compromises. It's sort of good enough, and then I end up in a sort of spot. You've already put on, like, say 400 turns, and you keep sort of thinking, oh well, it'll do, you know, I don't want to take off and redo 400 turns, and then that goes on and on and on in like a catastrophe sort of loop, and it's not right. If you're gonna do a job, do the fucker properly, is my motto. But obviously you can't do that all the time, otherwise you never get anything done, so you have to make compromises. Winding output transformers or electronics, it's all about compromises to a point. Anyway, let me shut waffling and let's go and do some more calculations. Start right from scratch. Having had a thought about it and messed about with the calculations somewhat, I decided to start again. And I've taken off one of the big primary. Was it 716 turns? And this is the first primary, and this is where the start of all that trouble is. And that is because of this partial winding here. A bit hard to see that. I don't know if you can see, there is a bump, and that bump has been transferring its way and translating itself, or whatever the words is, all the way through each subsequent layer. And every time I've got to here, so I'll try to frame it better, every time I've got to here, turns have started slipping, I've been getting gaps, the number of turns I get on each layer has gone down, so I won't be doing that again. So this is do I have to take this off? I'm not sure. I'll have a look at my notes, because I do need to take it off. Yeah, what I'm going to do, what I have done, or what I will do, God Jesus Christ, or am I? Yeah, so I got really confused then. Instead of putting like half turn on, I'm going to put on about 100 turns each layer. It's supposed to get 103. Let's just call it 100, because that's what it has been as it's gone further up. Hence why I've been using this sort of tape to just fill in the gaps around the outside. Because the other thing, I don't know if you can see, the bobbin isn't square on to this shaft, and that's because I have great difficulty in drilling these, you know, bits of wood, so it's sort of chopped up with bits of packing and everything, and it's not on quite symmetrically, and I think that's a bad thing as well, because that means the turns go on the piss, despite me trying my best for that not to happen. Right, so I want to get that one off. I've been using a handy dandy drill, an empty reel of wire. That's all the turns, primary turns have come off. Got a secondary down there and another secondary in the living room. So yeah, output transformer winding. Here we are back at the start. Wire over there, some of it's got a bit of glue on it, but what I shall do, I've got I've got a tub here, put some petrol in it, put a bit of petrol on each finger, and that'll just come off. I was getting the worst of it off with petrol and a toothbrush and a rag as I went through. Chinook just gone past. Don't see one of them every day. Anyway, back to the output transformer. Well, here we are with the second primary 280, hold on, yeah, 228, sorry. 228 turns, and like I said, it's always hard at the start. I always make a dog's breakfast of it, and I'd sort of get the 5, 6, 7 turns on, get it all nice and lined up, then you can start, you know, winding in earnest. However, I don't know if you'll be able to see that. If I what we're looking at is there. See, we've got a cross turn. It comes across like that and jumps over the other bugger. In which case, turn the counter off. And pull all the turns off. Which of course, as soon as you pull all that off, starts to, what's it on itself? I think that's it. It's there, look. See there, we've got a bit of a, I'll try and show you when I get near it. This is what it's like. I bet I've missed the swine now. Oh no, it ain't. It's just there. Just there. So I'll go round, look, one. See there? It was crossed over there. I like that. I think we got it. Yeah. It ain't easy, this then. I mean, I did have this winder previously, was driven by stepper motors previously, and with this carriage to put the turns on, you know, to put the turns on accurately, except it wasn't accurate. And even with that, I still had an issue whereby the first few turns would be problematic. Now of course this wire is starting to get wrapped round. Oh, I keep seeing bloody out. Yeah, there's another one there. I'll just hit me funny bone on the bloody door. Right, you see there, look. I'll try and get you just there. See, that's crossed over, look. So we want to be there. So what happens is, I try carefully. I mean, if I'm going at this speed, I can get them all nice and lined up ish, but you just, some points it just See, it just don't want to play. Sometimes the turns go on really nice, and so what I'm saying is, if I try and take loads of care, you end up with gaps. Well, you end up with no gaps, but then you just end up going that slow. So it's a bit like playing the piano or a guitar. Finger picking a guitar or playing a piano. Your left hand is doing the winding, or you know that thing where you pat your head with one hand and rub your tummy in a circular stomach in a circular movement. It's a bit like that with some added fucking Nora complexity. Nipples on a, and sometimes they just don't want to go. See, if I leave that gap there, probably bloody well can't even see it. Little gap there. If I leave that and kept leaving them there, it's just gone now. Then what happens is all those accumulated gaps accumulate. So it's the end of the damn tide. What have I got on today? Fuck knows. And this is an abortion, because I'm trying to do it around the camera. End of the day, you start making mistakes, getting a bit tired. Right, let's try and get those squeak gaps out. So sometimes I can bang on 10 turns. Sorry, I'm going heavy breathing. Sometimes you can bang on, sometimes I can bang on 10 turns and they're all lovely. And other times, not. And the amount of concentration is, yeah, a lot. Come on. So I'm trying to get that gap out there. Just sort of clicks. Sort of alright if I put on. Oh, now you see, we get this silly business look. It's all basically getting wrapped around. If it can get stuck on somewhere, it will. I'm sure there are winding gods, same as there are, yeah, a couple of winding gods, same as there are balls of string gods or balls of wool gods, that dictate that if you've got a bit of loose loops, they will, yeah, you see, look, it's almost like a fucking supernatural, like poltergeist thing going off. Demons. Right, so that's took me what? I'm just looking at the camera, that's about 10 minutes that's just took me to get back to where I started. So I started today at about 9 o'clock. It's now 4:30 and I've got on what, 600 primary turns and 34 secondary turns, 634 in, you do the maths. Right, I want to try and get this finished. Just keep pushing, just keep fucking feed it through. Forgot to press play again, sorry, record again. Right, I can get the turns on quite reasonably fast sometimes. Here we go. You ready? Steady, go. Oh look, see I buggered up there already. Rah. Come on man. 1, 2, 3. Alright, there we go. That wasn't too bad, was it? Alright. Yeah. I'm sure I could design a better winder than this, but never mind. Onwards and upwards, or onwards and sideways. Right, I'm now back more or less where I was when I took everything off. I'm a lot happier with how things are. It's going on a lot better, but my winding window is starting to get the old sphincter agitating. I measured it and it's close, it's very close, but all you can do is just keep on going. Bit like life, isn't it? As a metaphor and all that. And I'm getting quite a bit quicker as well. Oop. Which is nice. It does go on a lot better with this Nomex, but the Nomex is thick in the scheme of things, and so obviously will eat into my window. Right, I'm going to just keep going until I get to the end, and then we shall actually get to test it and connect it to some valves after we've done a bit of testing. See you in a bit. Here we are. This is the final winding. All the windings coming out this side of the bobbin, other side of the bobbin, blah blah blah. We have 400 turns of 0.45 millimeter diameter wire to put on. Just turn my vernier on. So it. Got 3.77 mil. Oop. Got a bit of a baggy, what do you call it here? What's that one? 4.76. So the wire is 0.45 diameter. That's the copper with the enamel that works out at 0.5. I've been working out the winding window on the depth. So four layers of 0.5 gives you 2 mil, with the tape on there as well. 2 mil 2 mil 2. So we should get it on quite easily. I'm glad that I started again. It's going on a lot better, a lot happier with the result. What I do find curious are these bumps. Where are we? Here, the undulations here at the ends I can understand. Because the reason I find them a bit perplexing is because I haven't like just wound it any old how. Every single layer has had one wire diameter thick all the way across. The only sort of, and I use about the same pressure on each one. The secondary winding is a little bit tighter than this, obviously, because it's thicker wire, etc. But yeah, this sort of undulation is odd. Like I say, at the outside it makes sense because I've been using this stuff to just put it, you know, around the edge to make sure that the layer on top doesn't fall underneath. So I don't understand it. It's a curious one. I suppose over time, like you might get better. I don't know. Yeah, weird. Anyway, onwards or sideways. Well, that's the winding finished. I finished it just in time as well. Nearly run out of wire, so I've had to order another roll of wire. Well, 2 rolls of wire, the 0.45mm and a 0.63mm. That was a kilo of wire originally. Obviously I made a screw up and what have you, so there was some wasted, but that's how it goes. One thing I did notice was that when I started, the width across here was about 2 inches and a 1/16 or 52.16 millimeters, and that is obviously gone up a bit. So you can see that. So it's splayed out. Yeah, that's blimey, that's splayed out by about 1 millimeter. By 1 millimeter, tad over 1 millimeter. Hopefully a little bit of gentle manipulation will sort that out, and then now we have to connect all the different windings together such that they create one primary and one secondary. So there's 3 secondaries to connect together, and where are we? 1, 2, 3, 4 primaries. Hang on, let me see. 4 primaries, 3 secondaries. So I'm going to get my thinking cap on and try and figure out a nice neat way to do that. One thing I did think of doing was to get a bit of FR4 board, the sort of 2mm thing, make like a plate, yeah, and do something like that. I don't know, I'm gonna have a think about that and a bit of a play. We've got the bobbin off the winding machine, started to connect the various windings together and made this sort of little McGubbins here to affix the terminations. So what have we got? We've got, that's the first one, that's to our anode of 12C34 connected in parallel. That's just a secondary connection. That is just a primary connection, and this one here is a secondary. So I shall continue on with this, and I shall see you in the next video. So thank you very much, all of you, for dropping by. Take care of yourselves. Ta-ra for now.